Alright, so there was several people that were interested in learning how to create a searchable drop-down list with Webflow. And the way you do this is really the same way you would do it with HTML, and there's really great videos on YouTube for learning how to do that, but I'll do my best to share with you how to do this in Webflow as well. So what we're going to do is add an event listener to this input that compares any string that is written in here to the contents of each of these items. And if part of the content of one of these items matches to the term that's put in here, it will automatically show this item but hide the items that don't have that. And it will compare lowercase strings, not uppercase. So what we do is, like, since I'm typing free with a lowercase, it's still showing me the blog with the capital F. So, by the way, that's no longer an offer. But anyway, so the first thing you need to do is create two constants, one for this list and another for this input, the search input. So for the list of trees, you create a constant named list, or whatever you want to name it, and set that equal to document.querySelector, which will search this whole HTML document and find the element that has the ID of search list. And I know it has this ID because I added it in the Webflow designer. If we go to search list, it has this ID of search list. And so that's how we'll select that item. Next thing we'll do is make another constant for this search bar, and we'll do it in the same way. Create a name, whatever you want to name it, and set it equal to document.querySelector with an ID of search input. And I can inspect this, which is another way of finding the ID, and find out that that input has an ID of search input down here. And we also know that if I go in the Webflow designer, the ID is right here. Okay, and we're done with that. We will create an a listener event that whenever a key is pressed inside of this bar, a function will happen. So in order to do that, you select the search bar, which we created the constant for up here, and add event listener, which is a method in JavaScript, key up, comma, function, and you can give this, you can place I think it's a variable, whatever you want to name this function. You can insert whatever you want into this function, and I don't really know how to explain that, but this is how you do it. So you give it E, and then inside that function, in curly braces, you create another constant, and this constant is the term. This term is what you will say here, and set that equal to E dot target dot value dot to lowercase. And to lowercase is a method that will change all of these letters to lowercase letters, so we don't have to worry about the uppercase versus lowercase. And the same thing we will do with the search list. So in order to get this search list, as you create for the search items, is you'll create another constant called search items, for instance, and set that equal to the list, this whole list, dot get elements by class name, and then you will select the class that holds each one of these collection items. And the way I found that is going and inspecting in Chrome, down here at the bottom, you can see that each one of these is one of the collections items, and it has two classes, the search-item and the w-dynamic-item, whatever. That's Webflow's class that they add in for styling purposes. So you'll select that by get elements by class name, and so we'll select each one of those, and then we'll turn this into an array so that we can sort through all of these and see whether they compare to the search term. So we'll do array dot from search items dot for each, and then throw in a function. And what this for each means is for each of these we're going to do a function. Okay, and the function is we're going to compare it to the term, and we're either going to show this item or hide this item based on whether the term is alike to the term in the collection item. So we throw in a name here, and this can be named whatever you want to. For instance, you could name it whatever. It doesn't really matter, just as long as you use it down here. So create another constant called text, and that will be the text of each of these items. So it's equal to, you can set it to item, which is this variable name up here, dot first element child, which is the first element child is this a link. So the way I set up my collection list is I put a link block in each one of these items, and then I added my text inside. So what it's saying is select the a link that's inside of this collection item and get the text content, and that way you can add other blocks of text content. For instance, if you want to search by category as well, or other attributes, for instance size or something, you could add other attributes inside of that link, or select a different, so for instance, I think you could just do item dot text content and get all the text content in that item, and you would not need to have everything inside of a link block. I want everything to be inside that link block, and then I could add other photos outside of the link block or whatever, and I wouldn't have to be getting the text of other items. So you can do it whatever way you want, but the main thing is you're getting all the text from each of these items. And then you're saying for each of these items, if the text inside, because we just created this constant called text, dot to lowercase, if the lowercase of this text dot indexed of term does not equal to -1, display this item. And what that means is if this is typed, what is going to be returned is a -1. But if this is typed, since the words match some of the words in here, or the letters, whatever, then it's going to throw a number like 5, 6, 7, 8, which is a number, which is not -1. So what we're going to say is if it's not equal to -1, item dot style dot display equals block. So you could also say item dot style dot color equals black. So you could do a lot of different things with this same function, but we want to display it as block. We want it to show as block. But if it does equal to -1, for instance, all the items that don't have the in their title, we want them to display as none. And so both of these, the first if, you put the statement like if this works, then display with these curly braces, then. It's kind of what the curly braces mean, is then. And then if not, you say else. So if it's not this, then you say else, and you put another curly braces, and everything else that's equal to -1 is just going to be displayed none. So you're selecting the item, .style, .display, equal to none. Alright, so that's that part, and I wanted to show you something else. So when you take this in, you want to copy it, and you want to paste it into the settings of your pages. So this needs to be in all the pages where the search bar is, or you could potentially put it into an HTML embed underneath everything. So for instance, if you wanted to just put it inside of this element, you could add an embed block down below, and just make sure that the embed is underneath all of the items. Yeah, we'll fix that later, but make sure the embed is underneath all of the items, because the JavaScript will not know that these exist if you put it up on top or in the middle. So you want to make sure the HTML is below. But the nice thing about doing it this way is you can put this all into a symbol with Webflow and copy and paste that symbol, and then you don't have to worry about putting it into the body page because it's already in that symbol, and you can reuse it and never have to mess with the code and copy and paste whatever. But you're going to want to make sure that HTML is properly in script tags, because as you can see, it did not look right and it wasn't going to work. So in order to put this code into the page, you have to put it into script tags, and that is that way for whether you put it in an HTML block or you put it into the body itself. So I have it in the body here, so I'm actually going to just delete this. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to show you is in Chrome, when you type in this, it automatically adds a suggestion box, and it looks terribly ugly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do that, to make that go off. You have to add this attribute, but we'll take that out, and I'll show you what I mean. See, Chrome adds these suggestions, and this is going to happen to you if you don't know. But in order to change that, it's really easy. So you go to the search form, which is the search component that Webflow made, and you have to add a custom form attribute. And the name of that attribute is autocomplete. And then you set the value to off. Hit save, and bam, that's fixed. So you won't have to worry about that. Another small detail with design that I wanted to share with you is in mobile version on Safari and on iOS, when mobile users type this in, it automatically zooms if your pixel, if the size of the font is less than 16 pixels. So in order to fix that, you can just make sure that your font size is 16 pixels or above, and it won't do that. I can't show that to you on my computer, but hopefully that helps you out. Clone this to see how the HTML works, and I hope this helps you out and you can enjoy this tutorial.